folks, this is William Randolph, and I'm doing a throwback video. I'm going back to the old Williams whiteboard days because I had a very interesting question right before the holidays. I was teaching a course, young intern contracts folks, and I was sharing with them about the fourth quarter. It's like, okay, we're here, and this is what I call the crazy season of the fourth quarter of the federal government's fiscal year. And they asked me the question, it's like, okay, I know you've talked about all this craziness that happens. He's like, how many fiscal years have we had? And I was like, quite a few of them. And it's like, okay. It's like, why haven't we figured this out? Why do we still have these things that are called fourth quarters? You know, and specifically all the chaos that ensues because of that. And I tried my best in the course, in the midst of the training, to share my thoughts, and I came up with about 5 things of why we have fourth quarter chaos. And then I said, well, let me come home and put some more thought around it, and I came up with 2 more. So what I want to share with you today is my why there is fourth quarter chaos. Okay? This is my opinion. But it's an informed opinion. It's based on my experiences. So we're going to talk about why. I think there are 7 reasons why we have the chaos that is the fourth quarter. The first, we have annual appropriations. Okay? Funds, dollars, budgetary approval is given to the federal government on an annual basis. And the operations and maintenance pot, the dollars that make the trains run, all the basic activities, especially on the civilian side, this happens in a 1-year activity, 1 year at a time. So this is the seminal moment that sets up all of the other chaos around the fourth quarter, is an annual appropriation based on a fiscal year framework. That's the first. The second is a appropriations law tenet, which is called the bona fide need rule. Okay? The bona fide need rule is the second piece that contributes to why we have fourth quarter chaos. The bona fide need rule says basically 2 things. 1, dollars must be spent in the fiscal year that they are appropriated. Okay? Especially when we're talking about 1-year dollars. Whatever year. So if we have fiscal 24 dollars, they must be spent in fiscal year 24. Okay, that's the first part of the bona fide need rule. The second part of the bona fide need rule is no matter what time parameter in the fiscal year, so let's talk about first quarter, first, second, third, or fourth quarter, no matter what quarter, as long as the dollars are used in the fiscal year and there is a need in the fiscal year, you can award the dollars here. Let's say that's September 25th, and it will give you until September of the 26th of the following year to expend the funds out. So you have 12 months, no matter where you award in the fiscal year, it has to have some need in the fiscal year. But once you have identified the need, once you make an award, you have 12 months to execute it. So this is why, another reason why we have chaos in the fourth quarter is because we have this bona fide need rule that says it has to be awarded in this fiscal year that it was appropriated in, and there has to be some need that then allows you for 12 additional months to burn it off. That's the second point. The third point, I think, that contributes to fourth quarter chaos is what I call Parkinson's, well, actually what everyone calls Parkinson's law. Okay? Parkinson's law basically states that work, especially knowledge work, expands to fill the time allotted for it. So if you have 7 days to make a decision and to do some activity and make a decision, guess how long it's going to take? About 7 days. If you've got 7 weeks to do the analysis and make a decision, guess how long it's going to take? About 7 weeks. If you have 7 months to make a decision, how long is it going to take? About 7 months. Parkinson's law says work expands to fill the time allotted for it. So in a fiscal year environment, the fourth quarter, the expansion, the last part of the expansion is 30 September. That's as far as it can go. So Parkinson's law, no matter if you have 365 days in the fiscal year, it's going to expand to the last day of the fiscal year. That's the third piece that I think contributes to fourth quarter chaos. I think the next is delayed budgets and continuing resolutions. Okay, that's another piece that contributes to fourth quarter chaos. Knowing that on October 1st of any new fiscal year, we rarely have a budget on October 1st. Okay? And in this year, FY24, we didn't have a full year budget until March 23rd. The 23rd of March. That's almost the end of second quarter that we had a full year budget. Now, why is that important? Because the full year budget is the starting place for new start procurements. Okay? Under a CR, no new starts, no new procurements. You can continue something you've purchased in the past, but no new starts can begin under a CR because you're using last year's framework as the funding mechanism for the short-term amount of spending in the current fiscal year. So CRs, because of that, think about all the things that could not start until the 24th of March because of the CR. And the ending point for those is September 30th. So almost two months were gone on things that had new starts. And because of that, September 30th is the cutoff point, which breeds chaos. The next is non-PALT activities. Okay. Now, what does that mean, William? This is a nice way to say there are some activities that happen that are not governed by the procurement action lead time. Okay. The time frame that your contract shop says this is the amount of time it's going to take to do A, B, C, D, E, to go through the contracting cycle. That's fine for the contracting cycle. But there's so much activity to the left of the contracting cycle to get ready that this activity is not on the clock. Okay, there's no clock for that. So these non-PALT activities take up a lot of time. They eventually find themselves to contracts, but guess what? Contracting is then governed by the September 30th fiscal year cutoff. So these non-PALT activities also contribute to the chaos. Okay? Here's another issue. I call it the nickels and dimes. Okay, the nickels and dimes. What happens in a government contracting organization is that once you're able to start your new starts or your big deals will flow through the system. And let's say you have a $5 million requirement that takes that gets awarded that takes a long time, maybe let's say $50 million, that takes a long time to get that awarded. It's finally awarded in July or August. We had a $50 million budget, and the contracts team and the acquisition team does a great job and gets that thing awarded at $48.7 million. Okay. Guess what happened? You've got now $1.3 million that you got to find something to do with. So this has to go through the procurement process with the $1.3 million that was slated for something that just got awarded in maybe July or August. And these nickels and dimes, and sometimes it's quite a large pot of nickels and dimes, contributes to the chaos, because now there's an acquisition. We have to identify something to buy, build the acquisition strategy, execute the strategy, and then get it awarded by the 30th of September. And then here's the bonus. The bonus is when all this activity is happening, there is no group of folks in a closet that are let out in July, August, and September. And what does that mean? That means that the same amount of people that the same amount of acquisition experts that are working deals all the way through the fiscal year, when we know that the data suggests that 40% of the spending happens in the last 25% of the year, the folks that are doing this work all through the first, second, and third quarter tends to be the same amount of people that now have to do 40% of the work in the last 25% of the year, which is Q4. There's no people in the closet. There's no group of people that we let out in the fourth quarter. It's the same people. So the same people that have been working through quarter one, quarter two, and quarter three now have to do quarter four, but 40% of the spend actually happens in quarter four. These are the reasons, in my opinion, why there is fourth quarter chaos. One would think that's like, by now we should have figured this out. But the system and its piece parts contribute to what is our fourth quarter chaos. So thank you for the opportunity to share this with you, the building blocks of fourth quarter chaos. And I hope that you will use all of the resources at your disposal, regardless of what side of the government contracting table you're on, to help the system consume all the things that are required to be successful in the fourth quarter. Okay, last year's number was $774 billion worth of spend, and 40% of that happens in the fourth quarter. Thank you so very much for your time, and be on the lookout for other ideas and concepts to be shared. All the best. Be well.